Electric types. Let's talk about them. It's my favorite typing out of all of them. They're just adorable creatures, man, and all around just really likable. However, if I'm being honest, the only reason they're my favorite typing is because of this guy right here. My first game was Pokemon Gold, and on that cartridge, my game wasn't able to save, so I'd restart the game and catch Marie 1,000 times over. The bond I have with this thing is one that cannot be broken. I've been meaning to do an electric type run for a while, and it's finally here. Welcome to my attempt of a Pokemon Y hardcore Nuzlocke using electric type Pokemon only. Here's the rules on screen as always, and if you want to pause and check them out, go ahead. I usually ban Megas because they're so broken, especially in X and Y, but fuck it. Let's use them this time. Either way, we're gonna win anyways. Might as well have some fun doing it. Let me know if you guys prefer the additional rule of banning mechanics like this, or if you do want to see them. I feel like for my style of videos, because I joke a lot, including them would be better. As always, if you guys like the video, just like the damn video, man. It only takes a second of your time. And if you don't, then, well, this time I'm gonna tell your parents. Yeah, that's it. Were you expecting something else? Don't worry, I won't come into your room at night this time. I try to post every week to a week and a half, so if you can, subscribing would mean the world to me, considering only 10% of you are actually subscribed. Well anyways, let's do this, guys. You know, I don't really pay too much attention to the professors' names at all. Like, they're all named after trees, which is really cool, and none of them blow me away, but something about Professor Sycamore is just downright amazing. Professor Sycamore. The name Sycamore is the coolest name they've given a professor since the birth of Professor Birch himself. Anyways, I just thought I would point that out. My nickname. Call me the Avatar. Master of all the typings. So I thought Serena carried the starter that was weak to ours, but apparently they gave her the one that's actually stronger. And I didn't realize this until later for some reason. I picked Fennekin thinking she'd have a Chespin, but she has a Greninja, which is the easiest for our team to handle. My mistake. But it's just that newer games usually give the rival the easier Pokemon for you to handle. Obviously, Fennekin is not an electric type, so we have to go to Sandaloon Forest to go catch ourselves a little Pikachu. Fun fact, this forest has pretty much the exact same layout from Viridian Forest in the Gen 1 games. Anyways, we find our Pikachu and catch him. He has a lax nature, and we name him Sokka. So you guys already know where these nicknames are headed. Nothing much happens in this forest, and once we get to Route 3, I take a big look at Tierno. Does he look familiar to you guys? There it is. I knew he was from somewhere. This man Tierno is literally built like Mr. Popo. Once we arrive to Sandaloon City, which should honestly be called Sandaloon Town, or Village, because this in no way is a city, we can actually challenge the gym right away. Unfortunately, just like my last run in Pokemon X, we just can't beat this gym with one Pokemon without EV training it. We can take out Viola's Surskit, no problem, but it just does too much damage to us by the time Vivian comes out, and we're just too weak to take any more damage. Luckily, they gave us super training, so after training Pikachu to about around 100 speed and 100 special attack EVs, we take her on the attempt where we caught this lax Pikachu. A Thundershock does a clean 70% to her, and the following turn, another one KOs easily. Now we're extremely healthy to take on Vivian. A Thundershock does under half her health, and her Infestation is annoying, whittling us down each turn, but we do get that static ability to activate on Sokka. I do go for a quick attack next turn to avoid her using a potion, and the following turn, a Thundershock can kill this bug from where she's at. I wonder if every challenge I do that only gives me one Pokemon in these games is gonna give me trouble and I have to EV train it. I hope not. So the second gym is actually ways away, just being after Route 8 or 9. To put that into perspective, we just came from Route 3, so we're 5 routes away from the second gym. This is also why the level cap spikes to 25 from the previous 12. Fortunately, it does go by pretty fast. We can catch our second encounter on Route 5, but before we do that, we need to stop by Lumio City. Lumio City, where there's a blackout that only allows females to enter, and not guys. Hello? Someone just passed you, sir. Did you not just say there was a blackout past this point? Let me through. Let me through, you fuck! Now for the Sycamore fight, since we only have Pikachu, I get him up to level 18. That way we can have Electro Ball and have a chance to win this fight against Bulbasaur's annoying Leech Seed. And Electro Ball does half to Bulbasaur, and he actually didn't use Leech Seed, which is nice. But it doesn't matter because one more takes him out, and Squirtle and Charmander just get bopped by one Electro Ball. Unfortunately, I did have to be such a high level with Electro Ball to win this fight, but oh well. Excuse me? I'm not stylish enough to be in this store? Have you looked in the mirror? You look like sh. Alright, finally on Route 5, we come across this horde of Plusle and Minun. Well, only one Plusle. I actually want Minun, so we kill her buddies and catch her. We name her Azula because she's blue and Azula has blue flames. Also, Azula is pretty damn strong, and well, Minun is just this tiny mouse, so that's pretty funny. She has a sassy nature. I'm sorry, entrance fee? What the hell is wrong with you people from Kalos? Do you not know who I am? I'm about to be the champion in a couple days. You're speaking to royalty. You're gonna be very sorry you charged me those $1,000, bub. What's that? You never watched the fireworks alone with a boy before? Oh, okay. Well, don't get any funny ideas, Shauna. Seriously, if you even think about reaching for my hand, It's on site. After a long trek, we finally arrived to Route 9 for our third encounter, that being Helioptile. I adore this Pokemon. I named him Bolin, and he has a neutral nature. On Route 10, we can actually find an Emolga, Electrike, and an Eevee, which has a lower chance to spawn. We end up running into Electrike, which I was a little upset with because I love Jolteon. But then I saw that there's an Eevee that is given to you by a trader in one of the hotels. Well, anyways, I caught the Electrike and named her Yue. She has a neutral nature. In the second gym, there's only one trainer we absolutely need to fight here, and thankfully, I looked it up. I did not remember this guy having a Relicanth on his team. Our team is really frail, so I need to have enough health to take a hit. I led mine in to charm his Dwebble, and since he was using Feint Attack, I just decided to Encore him into it and paralyze this thing right after. From here, Sokka can come in to Electro Ball him down to his Sturdy. Once Dwebble is dead, his Relicanth just barely lives with like 1 HP, and you can just see how much damage that Rock Tomb did to us. We definitely lose him on here if we're not prepared. Fortunately, this is the only trainer you have to fight in this gym. That is if you can avoid this guy right here. So for Grant, I didn't know what I was gonna do because that Tyrant packs a punch with his Strong Jaw ability, and we can't knock it out in one hit. I thought long and hard and saw that Pikachu has a 5% chance to hold a Light Ball in the wild. We do have the TM Thief, so I teach it to Electrike and we go back to Sandalwood Forest to rob one from one of the Pikachus there. This item boosts Sokka's attack and special attack by 50%. Now by EV training Sokka's attack to around 100 EVs, we can knock out his Amora with a Light Ball boosted Rock Smash, which we got the TM for. And for Tyrant, I actually thought this was gonna do half, but I just didn't do half. And his Rock Tomb actually leaves us at 23 HP. The good news is Rock Smash has a 50% chance to lower the target's defense, which did happen, so this fight is over. Wow, Pikachu is about to get smoked. At this point, I realize I'm probably not going to evolve Sokka into Raichu because of that Light Ball. And well, yeah, I never do. At level 27, Yue evolves into Manectric, and honestly I was never a big fan of Manectric growing up. We can go ahead and catch this tiny encounter over on Route 11. The Denny is actually one of the better Pikachu clones in my opinion. I named it Kyoshi because I think that naming a tiny mouse after the most powerful avatar to exist is hilarious. Huh, another neutral nature, huh? Did Tierno just flash us? Is that why he's giving us this TM? Get it together, Tierno. This is a children's game. Now, unfortunately, like I said before, I chose the wrong starter to make Serena have the grass starter, but oh well. This is our first fight with Serena, and I led Azula because I wanted to encore this thing into Light Screen, and she did end up using it, so after this I end up switching into Yue to start howling. I make her howl her heart out to +4 attack, and eventually take a Psybeam to the face, popping our Citrus Berry. After this, a Bite KOs Meowstic, a Spark KOs Absol, and Frogadier gets headbutted to the next dimension. I'm not gonna lie, I kinda feel bad. She genuinely seems upset she didn't win. But what do you expect, Serena? You're blonde. For our next encounter, I went to go catch an Oddish that knows Sweet Scent so that we can catch a Mareep on Route 12 instead of Pachirisu. Mareep can only be found in Horde encounters, so that's why we did this. I never count this as cheating in my runs because it's not like I'm using this thing in battle. Anyways, we Sweet Scent to get a Mareep Horde, and here we go. You're the lucky one out of the bunch. And since the whole Mareep line is the channel mascot, you shall be named Aang. Also, he's the one that's gonna have the Mega, so Aang definitely fits here. He's a mild nature, which at least boosts our special attack. I immediately evolve our fluffy friend into a fluffy Flaffy and on to battle the third gym. Man, these fights against the trainers in the gyms are scary since our team is so fragile. I don't even know how I came out of this. The Pancham Circle throws us into, of course, Helioptile, so I have to hard switch into Yue. She can then knock this thing out the following turn. Unfortunately, this throw tanks our Spark and revenges us all the way down to near death. Yikes. This is why Dedenne is so good, because we can eat a Seismic Toss from this thing and go for a Charm. I could have Charmed again here, but I wanted to see how much a Parabolic Charge did to heal some health, and we got nothing back, so now I use Volt Switch to do some damage and switch into Flappy, who can outspeed and kill this thing with an Electro Ball. But that's not it, folks. He also has a Machoke, so now I have to go into Azula, who tanks a Revenge. I charm him to -4 attack, get an Electro Ball off, and hard switch into Sokka. A nice boomerang to save the day, as I always say. Hey Sokka? That was the first trainer of this gym, by the way. At level 30, Aang has mastered all 4 elements and is now an Ampharos. Gosh, how can you not like this thing? It's adorable just swaying back and forth. Nobody else in this gym was an issue, so now we have to take on Corinna. I led Pikachu, and you're about to see why. Mienfo can't even live a Light Ball boosted Thunderbolt from Sokka. Hawlucha has nothing to hit us with hard enough, and on top of that, misses his Flying Press, which has a 5% chance to miss, by the way. How unlucky, Corinna. And Machoke does happen to live a Thunderbolt while her Rock Tomb leaves us super low, and before we kill this thing, I find it funny her Machoke isn't female, but is instead male. See, even Game Freak knows the Machop line should 100% be male. But anyways, luckily Sokka lives once again, and we've beaten Corinna. Now can we get that OnlyFans instead of the badge? Seriously, I want the OnlyFans instead. Nah, I'm just kidding. Or am I? Our next order of business is catching a Chinchou in Azure Bay. Lantern is one of my favorite electric types as well. I don't know why, Johto just has a special place in my heart. We named this one Cabbages and he has a gentle nature. And if you watch the show, then you know what cabbages mean. I actually got the Ampharocyte in Azure Bay while I was there and immediately evolved Cabbages into a Lantern at level 27. Our next arena fight is in front of the gym in Cormarine City. I led Aang on her Meowstic, and obviously she goes for a fake out first turn. The second turn, however, I Mega Evolve this thing into Aang Fabio Edition, and an Electro Ball just barely KOs this thing as she sets up a light screen. After this, we could take her out and she goes into Absol. She actually gets a crit on her Slash, and man, is that some pathetic damage, says the one who did, well, pretty much pathetic damage. I could definitely die here from a Slash, but fuck it, we're the Avatar. Boom. Wouldn't be a Just Jules video if we didn't bait at least one of our Pokemon's life in the run. Of course, I switch into Cabbages when Frogadier comes out, and a couple of Electro Balls is enough to KO this thing. Man, we really need that Thunderbolt TM instead of Electro Ball. You find me interesting. What? This next gym is actually a tough one because Grass actually resists Electric types, and Ramos' Go-Goat actually has Bulldoze to mess with us. I do have a strategy though. I maxed out Aang's speed EVs and got him to around 100 special attack and attack EVs. I led Minun to encore his Jumpluff into one of his moves. I expected him to go for a Leech Seed here, but he just ended up going for an Acrobatics, which is very interesting. This is actually a better case scenario, as now he won't even be annoying with his Leech Seed. Now I charm him down twice to -4 attack and T-Wave him because believe it or not, Mega Ampharos can outspeed even with that 252 in speed EVs. Alright, it's pretty believable, but still. Anyway, since Minun is faster, now I encore once more, so he's locked into Acrobatics, and I switch into Angie. We Mega Evolve, and I actually taught the TM Power Up Punch to get him to set up on this Puffball. He actually ends up getting paralyzed 2 turns in a row, which is very nice, and a final Power Up Punch kills the Puffball, leaving us at +5 attack and leveling up to level 35. From here, a return is enough to KO both his Go-Go and his Weeping Bell in one hit. This old man probably just had a heart attack. Don't worry, Avengers, I already took care of Team Flare. Seriously guys, Halloween passed already. What are you doing? Upon arriving in Lumio City, once again, the quotation mark blackout quotation marks is over and we can fight Clemont himself. By doing the game's version of Who's That Pokemon, Clemont starts off with an Emolga, and I want you guys to watch Sokka just obliterate this poor thing. Holy crap, Sokka. I did teach the TM Dig to Pikachu here, so a Dig takes out his Heliolisk in one hit, and for his Magneton, I Quick Attack to break the Sturdy as he just goes for an Electric Terrain. After this, a Dig is enough to KO these 3 little Magnemites. Yup, that's it. That's Clemont. That was probably the easiest fight ever. I mean, Sokka's Light Ball really just makes him that powerful. I love every second of it. I wonder what Lysander was thinking when he was coming up with the Team Flare outfits. I mean, all orange and kind of red and even their own hair, it's not really intimidating. Let me just, for reference, show you somebody else with orange hair. What the heck? Exactly, the least intimidating person in this game. In fact, you both kind of have orange hair, huh? Coincidence?
I think not!
Serena, I really do not want to upset you again. Doesn't make me feel, oh, who am I kidding? It makes me feel amazing. It's a great confidence boost. So I don't really know what I was doing in this fight. I power up punched once against Meowstic and a crit return gets her down to the red. I could have got more power up punches off, but decided not to for some reason. Anyways, I used return to kill the Meowstic, and for Absol, a +1 power up punch didn't kill her. And a following turn, he quick attacks at +2. Once Absol goes down, I thought a Thunderbolt would kill Green Ninja here, but I forgot the light screen was still up from that Meowstic. His Water Shuriken almost kills us, but luckily it only hit 3 times, so we're able to kill this frog. Yeah, don't know why I didn't set up more on Meowstic, but whatever. Damn, the defeat in this girl's voice gives me so much joy. Man, if this was Squid Game, this girl would have been dead in the first 5 seconds. On the route following this battle, we find ourselves a Stunfisk. This thing is going to be called May because they literally are twins. They have the exact same personality, probably the exact same face. I mean, that's just how it is. She has a relaxed nature, and that pretty much describes May's personality in the show. Once we get Volt Switch on Bolin at level 40, I use a Sunstone on him to evolve him into Heliolisk. The next gym leader is Valerie, the fairy type gym leader, and she starts off with a Mawile as we lead Aang. We can basically set up on this thing for free to +4 attack. We also don't Mega Evolve on her Mawile so that I do as little damage as possible to set up to +4. After this, we Mega Evolve on her Mr. Mime, and a return can take her out as well as her Sylveon. I just don't get why they don't have more than 3 Pokemon at this point, or even a Mega on their team. Seriously, this is way too easy. Guys, in order to get to the Pokeball Factory, we need a distraction. Okay, I guess that'll do it. Team Avatar for the win. Seriously, who's on the fashion team over at Flare HQ? This is just not it, Lysander. They're built like a whole ass Power Ranger. You know, I didn't mean to run into this trainer, and it was the worst decision I've ever made. They have a Quagsire that knows Earthquake. Now, I should have Charmed from the start, but my brain was freaking out. I switch into Ampharos as he goes for a Yawn. Then I go into Lantern as he goes for Amnesia. From here, I go for a Surf that does pretty much nothing, as his EQ brings us down to just 22 HP. I was having a little Raven action from That's So Raven, predicting my death, when in reality I just had to believe in myself. So I stopped panicking, went back to Aang as he uses Yawn for some reason, then Aang gets off a return and falls asleep. At this point I have to switch into Kyoshi, who surprisingly takes an Earthquake pretty well. Fortunately I did have a Citrus Berry on Dedenne still, from who knows when, and from here I start charming as we take an EQ. I go for a second charm, but this time he decides to yawn for some reason again. Since we're going to fall asleep anyways, I go for that play rough, leaving him at god knows what HP, and when Kyoshi falls asleep, Yue can come in and take an EQ and finish this thing off. But that's not it, folks. He has a bear take that icicle crashes Yue way too hard. Luckily, Bolin just came in here, got swaggered, and broke through the confusion for a KO on this awful human being. Petition to make the trainer become the one who battles and not the Pokemon. That way I can electrocute this motherfucker. Anyways, our next encounter can be found in the Lost Hotel. We have 3 options here for electric types, which I didn't realize upon starting this challenge. Magneton, Electrode, and Rotom. They can only be found here and nowhere else. Magneton and Electrode are found by just walking around, and both have a 20% spawn, so it's a 50-50, and truthfully, I'd rather have Magnezone over Electrode. Knowing my luck, we'd get Electrode. Our next option is Rotom, who can be found in shaking trash bins on Tuesdays. Why Tuesday? I don't know. Why not Fridays? You know? If we repel, then we can get by and just soft reset for one until we get it. Unfortunately, I reset like 100 times on this trash bin with 0 luck on my side. Guys, I reset so much that I ended up finding a shiny Trubbish before I found the Rotom. All it said when I looked it up was just look in a trash bin, and I wasn't finding this thing. And I even had the static ability in front of my party. After I found this shiny Trubbish, I almost gave up until I realized there's a bottom half of this hotel on the next route. So I go down there and guess what? The first trash bin I look into, Rotom comes popping out. This can't be a coincidence. I'm pretty sure the Rotom can't be found up there and can only be found in this trash bin, or the trash bins down here. So I catch him with a Master Ball because this thing gave us so much trouble and name him Gyatso. He has an impish nature. It's funny because the next bin I checked was also a Rotom, so I wasted an hour of my life for nothing. Now this does mean we can't get Magnezone or Electrode, but honestly Rotom Wash is so much better, having that Levitate ability to switch into ground type moves whenever we want. And we have Hydro Pump, which if we put a wide lens on him, we won't miss as much. I mean, when is the next time you guys are going to see a Rotom Wash and a Hardcore Nuzlocke again? Alright, maybe in BDSP, we'll see. Now I mentioned before that we could actually get an Eevee by trading, and this is by talking to a maid in one of the hotels in Kalos. You have to talk to her for several days, and eventually she will trade with you. After talking to her enough, we get ourselves an Eevee, which we evolve into Jolteon after we learn Baton Pass. Unfortunately, you can't nickname traded Pokemon, but for the sake of this video, I just went into PK Hex to change her name into Katara, so that we could see it in-game. She has a neutral nature. Man, what is with all these neutral natures? After dealing with some Team Flare business in Frost Cavern, we ride atop this thick Mamoswine to carry us to the next town. Right before the next gym, Serena decides she wants to battle us once again after losing every single fight she's had against us. Of course, she leads Meowstic once more, realizing her strategy is probably not going to work, but she still does it anyways. For this fight, I decided to lead my beautiful Cabbages. Cabbages here learn Signal Beam, so a couple of Signal Beams and a lucky Confusion is enough to take this cat right out. For some reason, she sends out Great Ninja right away, and her Dark Pulse does a decent chunk to us, as our Thunderbolt does a decent chunk to her. We do have to switch on this ninja, predicting another Dark Pulse, so I go into Kyoshi, who resists that. He does get us pretty low, but luckily Kyoshi doesn't miss her play rough, so down goes Great Ninja. She does decide to send out her Flareon, so Kyoshi can just Volt Switch here into Gyatso for basically free. Now I actually set up a substitute, and Flareon's Lava Plume actually didn't break it, so a Hydro Pump can knock this thing out with our sub still up. Finally our Absol is up, and a Hydro Pump won't kill here, but our sub does take the damage from a critical hit Night Slash, which is huge. And the following turn a Thunderbolt can take this thing right out. Lovely how things work out. I love how they just gave her the same face every time of just sheer disappointment. Now, if you watch my Dark run in Pokemon X, you'd know that this trainer took a lovely Sharpedo away from me with his Executor, and I've come prepared. No one, and I mean no one, shall take a Pokemon from me in this gym again. Wrong. Yue can actually learn Flamethrower, so one Flamethrower leaves him at yellow, and here comes that Wood Hammer. Oh my god, that was way too close. Good job, Yue. Let that be a lesson to all of you in this gym. I am the greatest of all time. I am the best, and nothing is gonna stop me. Wait, what? Acupressure. His attack grows by 2 stages. Wait, stop. My cabbages! My cabbages! Alright, to be fair, I might have been playing the game too fast there, and didn't even realize what the Medicham even did until I watched it back. Well, Gyatso, come out, hit the Hydro Pump, and fuck you, Psychic Harry. I love how this was the trainer I happened to fight right after the Executor. I can't catch a break in this gym. Luckily, I did make it unscathed for the rest of the gym, and for Olympia, she starts off with a Sigilyph, Sigilif? Zigilif? Zigilif? I'm sure it's Sigilif. As I throw out the last airbender himself. A Thunderbolt is just barely enough to KO this thing, but at least this way she heals and we can stall out some light screen turns. Once Sigilif dies, there's just one turn of light screen left, so a Thunderbolt doesn't quite knock out her Slowking. And she also went for a Calm Mind right before the light screen went out, but it doesn't matter. Another Thunderbolt is enough to kill the king himself. Her last mon is Meowstic, but we dealt with this thing so many times thanks to Serena, so 2 Thunderbolts finishes his battle easy. Apparently Lysander wants to use a weapon of some sorts. Honestly, I'm not too interested, but he prevented me from destroying Serena's butt in a rematch, so he's gonna have to pay for that. So our first fight with Lysander, I start off with my little Kiyoshi, and I start charming this thing until he no longer uses Sword Stance. Eventually he's at -6 attack and paralyzed, so we can safely switch into Aang as he gets paralyzed. We can get up 2 Cotton Guards to get to +6 defense and then Mega Evolve to Thunderbolt this Mienfoo to the next dimension. This Gyarados outspeeds us and gets an Outrage off, but it does nothing, and a quad effective Thunderbolt takes this Water Snake right out. His Murkrow isn't even evolved yet, so bye bye to Murkrow. And surprisingly, Pyro gets a super low with a critical hit Hyper Voice, but I do have Power Gem on Aang, so he stands no chance. Let's get him. What are you trying to do? I'm sorry, you're gonna get in the first what now? Chill, girl, we just met. So for the second fight against Lysander, I basically do the exact same thing as the previous fight and eventually switch into Aang for the cleanup, and wow, he got paralyzed just like in the first fight. After 2 Cotton Guards and another lucky paralysis, a Thunderbolt takes out Mienfoo, takes out Gyarados, and for Pyro, I accidentally click Signal Beam because that's where my Power Gem move was before. But a Thunderbolt finishes Mufasa, and of course Honchkrow can't take an Electric type move to save its life. And Lysander, I've said this before, to Silver and Johto, orange and red hair. It's just not it, man. And what makes it even worse is you put it on every single one of your minions. Hey, no offense, Shauna, you coming here, it's just fucking up the whole vibe. You're gonna have to leave. You're done. You're just gonna end up running away anyways. Yeah, you see? What did I tell you? Looks like I have to take care of this myself. Now, unfortunately, I used my Master Ball and Rotom, and you actually have to catch a Veltal in order to continue, but thank God I do have a Quick Ball in my bag, so I put this Legendary to rot in the PC, and man, what the hell is that on your face? You look like a goofball. Alright, I guess now we know who's on the fashion team on Team Flare. So I essentially do the same thing with Kiyoshi, but instead of going directly into Aang here, I switch into Katara instead to get an agility off and then baton pass it into Aang. This is the 3rd time I'm switching in Aang on Mienshao as it gets paralyzed. Wow, Lysander is not having a good day.
I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye.
This time I Cotton Guard just once and then Thunderbolt this Mienshao to oblivion. He sends out his Pyro second this time, and since we got that agility off, we can outspeed and KO Mufasa once again. Same thing goes for Honchkrow, and for his Gyarados, he Mega Evolves, but of course we outspeed, so a Thunderbolt is enough to kill this thing in one single blow. He did have a chance to live here, so that's why I Cotton Guarded once before. Oh, Lysander, change your hair color. You know what? Change your hairstyle too. You're out here looking like Wolverine. I'll never understand how we're all just okay after that explosion, but alright, I'll accept it. I find it dope how we actually fight the professor in this gen. I wish they gave him a little more than just the 3 starters. I led Yue to throw some fire at this thing and get him to under half of his health, but fortunately Venusaur just worry seeds. What are you worried about, Venusaur? We got a higher roll so Yue can just knock this thing right out. Blastoise almost dies to a Thunderbolt, and an Aqua Jet actually leaves a super weak popping our Sitrus Berry, and luckily we can just kill it the next turn. For Charizard, we can just go into Rotom Wash to pump him into next week. Wait, you gave me one of these starters. You just have others laying around? Shauna, how do you even have the courage to even look at me in the face after running away the way you did? I'm gonna teach you a lesson. I led Kiyoshi here to Charm once and Volt Switch into Aang. Once Aang is Mega upped, a Thunderbolt can finish you, a Dragon Pulse can finish you, and 2 Dragon Pulses can finish this battle right up. Since we don't get healed after this fight, Kiyoshi is nice and healthy for Tierno. Speaking of Tierno, hey, wait, there's too much weight on this mother... Alright, for Tierno, Kiyoshi can actually charm this Talonflame who has Swords Dance down to -6 attack, and luckily he does get paralyzed from our Nuzzle a couple times. Once this thing is rendered useless, I can go into Aang to set up a light screen, which we learned upon level up in the fight against Shauna, and after this, his Talonflame gets paralyzed once again, and a Thunderbolt can take Mr. KFC out easy. His Crawdon obviously stands 0 chance, however this is why I set up a light screen, just to be safe against this Petal Dancing Roserade. The Dragon Pulse doesn't quite kill him, and would you look at that, a critical hit, which would have killed us without that light screen. Alright, Lysander's son. Kiyoshi can take this Raichu out with 2 Play Roughs, and I switched into Rotom Wash for Florges, but he actually did a decent chunk to us, so I just end up going into our MVP once again. Once Aang is out, I get a light screen up, and I don't actually Mega Evolve to avoid that super effective Moonblast. From here, 2 Thunderbolts can take this thing, oh Okay, does Mystery Terrain boost special defense or something? Alright, Trevor actually has an Aerodactyl on his team, which can't really touch us, but we're dead to a crit. Ah, fuck it, let's bait it once again. Boom, no crit on the crunch, and Aerodactyl is dinner. How did all three of you get mollywopped by me? The next city is Snowbell, and here we can fight the easiest gym leader to exist.
Cap.
Alright, I'm gonna regret saying that. So Wolfric leads Abomasnow, which is no problem for UA's flamethrower, but his Cryogonal takes half from our flamethrower here and confuses us. I did bring a Prism Berry for the confusion, but of course our second flamethrower leaves this thing just barely breathing, and it confuses us once more. Alright, things are not going according to plan, so I switch into Kyoshi on his heal turn. After this, I nuzzle as he confuses us. Since we're confused, I hard switch into Bolin to get some action. I just want to Volt Switch to get some chip damage off, and then go back into Kyoshi to do the same. Now we're back into Bolin, and Volt Switch is just barely enough to KO this thing, and now we can switch safely back into UA for Avalugg. I go for a flamethrower, and that's the— what? How the fuck? No, alright, no way this kills me. Are you serious? Alright. I underestimated Avalugg's attack stat. But I mean, at least it was UA and not someone else on the team. Sorry, UA. Well, Gyatso can clean this mess up. I probably should have just switched into Gyatso and Avalugg to begin with. I always jinx myself, man. Well, it's time to head into Victory Road. Fortunately, you can avoid a lot of the trainers in Victory Road, and the ones I did fight didn't really pose a threat to me. We do end up meeting up with Serena for the billionth time, as she's convinced to end my existence, and here's how that went. Maybe if you stop leading Meowstic, Serena, you'd probably have a chance. Anyways, you're dead per usual. Greninja actually gets an Ice Beam on us, but we live, and a Thunderbolt one-shots this thing. For her Altaria, there's a chance we don't outspeed here, but I go into Kyoshi fearing a Dragon-type move, and there we go, we get him completely free thanks to Fairy types being immune to Dragon, and now we can play rough 2 times, and this puffy cloud is down. I Volt Switch Kyoshi out on Flareon and switch into Stunfisk, which I brought along. Unfortunately, her Lava Plume does get the burn on us, so our Earthquake only does half to her, and now I have to switch into Gyatso. A Thunderbolt should be enough. Alright, Serena, come on, just accept your fate. Once Flareon is dead and her Absol comes out, Gyatso goes for a Hydro Pump, leaving her in the yellow, and fortunately she does just go for a Sword Stance. A turn later, a Thunderbolt is enough to just finish her off. At this point, I think Serena is just gonna go jump off a bridge or something. I mean, look at her go. I should stop her. So usually when you get to the end of newer Victory Roads, like Gen 6 and onward, there will be 2 to 3 trainers at the end that are actually tough to beat, depending on your team. I looked these guys up like usual, and this girl has a Snorlax that knows Earthquake. This is a problem, and luckily this type of preparation for just regular trainers only happens at the end of Victory Road. So I start off with Ampharos against this Glaceon to start power up punching. I don't Mega Evolve because this thing has Blizzard, and that would be super effective, and instead put a Citrus Berry on Ampharos. She does end up missing one of her Blizzards, which is really nice, but even if she hit it, we can lift 2 Blizzards thanks to that Citrus Berry, without any crits of course. Anyways, 2 power-up punches and a Brick Break kill this Glaceon. Now I didn't bother getting up to +3 attack because a +3 Brick Break won't kill a Snorlax in one hit, at which point she would just EQ Aang. So instead I hard switch into Gyatso on an Earthquake for free, and go for a Will-O-Wisp as she goes for a power-up punch herself. I did check if the sub would fade, and it did with a crit, and again it faded to a Body Slam. I tried to go for a Hydro Pump, we actually ended up missing, and she almost takes Gyatso right out. From here, I just went into Kyoshi on a Body Slam and started Charming. I Charm her to -2 attack and tank an Earthquake. I did hard switch into Aang to take this thing out. Alrighty, here's our team for the Elite Four. We got Gyatso, our Rotom Wash, with Hydro Pump, Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, and Will-O-Wisp, holding the Wide Lens. Aang, our Mega Ampharos, has Cotton Guard, Dragon Pulse, Power Up Punch, and Fire Punch, looking as menacing as ever.
Cap.
Up next, we have Sokka the Pikachu, back to raise havoc with Thunderbolt, Light Screen, Nuzzle, and Quick Attack. I'm going to change Quick Attack for Grass Knot though. He's still holding that Light Ball from the second gym. Kyoshi, our little Dedenne, has Play Rough, Volt Switch, Nuzzle, and still has that Charm. I love her so much. We haven't used much of Katara this run, and we might not even use her at all, but she's a good sport with Thunderbolt, Shadow Ball, Baton Pass, and Agility. Last but not least, we have Stunfisk on the team because why not? Mei is rocking Thunderbolt, EQ, Scald, and Rock Slide, as plain as ever. Alright, Malva is my first choice because this fight is a cakewalk, as long as Gyatso doesn't miss a Hydro Pump. Pyroar dies to a Hydro Pump, Torkoal dies to a Hydro Pump, Chandelure dies to a Hydro Pump, and just so we don't miss, a Thunderbolt KOs this Talonflame easy. Worth to note that this Rotom is 252 in speed EVs to outspeed some Pokemon. Wow, Malva. What was that, like less than a minute? It's okay, I can't last that long either. So for Cyborg, I also lead Gyatso, but I have a different strat here. I taught him the TM Charge Beam, and our first one actually gets a crit on Clawitzer, but no special attack boost. We do take a Dragon Pulse pretty well, and the following turn a Charge Beam KOs, and we do get that special attack boost, so now we can kill everything on his team. Obviously, Gyarados stands 0 chance against Gyatso, Barbarical doesn't either, and for Starmie, with those speedy Vs, we can outspeed and down goes Starmie. Bold of you to assume you even had a chance, good sir. Up next, I decided to fight Wikstrom, and I lead May to take out Klefki with 2 Earthquakes. That way, no one else has to take any unnecessary damage. Once Steve Harvey comes out, I switch into Gyatso, who is immune to that Earth power, and the following turn, a Hydro Pump actually gets him to potion range. We do this 2 more times until eventually a Thunderbolt KOs this thing. Man, Rotom was the right decision instead of Magnezone. He does end up sending in Aegislash sooner than expected, but it's okay because he obviously is going to go for a King Shield, and we can burn this thing on turn 1. After this, I go ahead and switch into Aang, and this piece of metal actually crits us with his Shadow Claw. Not cool, Wikstrom. Anyways, Aang gets off his Mega Evo, and while he King Shields, we can go for a Cotton Guard. 2 Fire Punches later, and this Sword and Shield is down. Let's be real, this Scissor stands 0 chance against a Fire Punch from our Mega. So far, this has been a complete cakewalk. The last Elite Four member is Drasna, the Dragon-type Master. So for Drasna, I lead Ampharos and Mega Evolve right away to kill this Dragalge with Dragon Pulse in 1 hit. This actually had a chance to not KO here. She actually sends in Altaria first instead of Druddigon, and we have a chance to not outspeed this thing, so I was hoping I'd get to kill Druddigon first, but oh well. We can take a hit from this thing, and oh my god, we actually outsped her. And just straight up murder her too. Good job, Aang. See, this is why you're the Avatar. She's saving her Druddigon for last for some reason, but since we didn't take any damage, we can tank a move from her Noivern, and her Dragon Pulse just obliterates this thing in 1 hit. And same for her Druddigon. I saw that fight going a little differently, but oh well. A straight home run for Aang. Alright, Diantha. It's time for at least somewhat of a challenging fight against one of you. I led Gyatso here to Will-O-Wisp, and he actually just goes for a Swords Dance, and Rotom takes 0 damage. From here, I can go straight into Kyoshi, who has no problem taking anything this Hawlucha has for her. Alright, she does have Poison Jab, but we tank it thanks to Kyoshi charming this thing. I did EV train her in 252 speed EVs, so from here, Kyoshi can just charm her to -6 attack, and the AI here just ends up going for Poison Jab over and over and over. I should have realized the AI was going to do this and should have just went straight into Pikachu, not fearing her Sword Dancing on me. Basically, I want to Charge Beam with Pikachu to set up a little bit. On the switch in, she does happen to poison us, which is just a straight L, and fortunately she does end up using a potion so we can Charge Beam her down to the red, and once more to be +2 special attack. There was a chance Hawlucha outsped us, and she did, so that's why I led Rotom to Will-O-Wisp and the Detonated Charm to be as safe as possible for the boost. If we had led Pikachu to begin with and didn't get a boost, then she'd heal, we'd get her back to the red, and she'd outspeed us and kill us with a second Poison Jab. Anyways, her Tyrantrum is sent out, and we taught Sokka Grass Knot, so a +2 Grass Knot is enough to KO here. Now, I thought Aurorus was gonna come out, but instead Goodra came out first, and I really just couldn't figure out why this was. Goodra has the ability Sap Sipper, which makes her immune to Grass-type moves completely, and since I used Grass Knot, she went straight into Goodra, so it took me a while to figure out what I was going to do next. I decided to go for a Light Screen and just sack Sokka here. After this, I go into Kyoshi, who's already weak, and play rough her down to the yellow. Unfortunately, Kyoshi does go down, but it wasn't in vain. From here, we can switch into Aang. I didn't Mega Evolve, so when I killed this thing, she wouldn't go straight into her Gardevoir. But apparently, she still has another potion and uses it here, so regular Ampharos' Dragon Pulse doesn't even do half to her. Which means now I have to Mega Evolve and take Goodra out the following turn, potentially leading in Gardevoir. Luckily that doesn't happen, and instead Aurorus comes out, so this is actually the perfect scenario. I still have Power Up Punch and Fire Punch, so I can Power Up Punch to get her to half, and she just goes for a Light Screen. A Blizzard wouldn't have killed us here, but it's better she didn't go for it. So a second Power Up Punch KOs Aurorus, and now we're +2 to take on Gourgeist. At this point, I'm pretty sure she would have gone to her Gardevoir out if it wasn't programmed to not do so. So yeah, I'm pretty sure her Gardevoir is saved for last 100% of the time. So obviously this thing is going to go for a Phantom Force, but I just didn't take that into consideration. Either way, it doesn't matter because I didn't bring Light Screen on Ampharos, but if we did, then we can get off a Light Screen for free for her Mega Gardevoir. Anyways, a Fire Punch does destroy this plant pretty easy. Finally, her biggest threat is out, and I'm going to be completely honest, I completely forgot in the moment that this thing was even going to Mega Evolve. I'm over here thinking I'm going to fight a Gardevoir and that's it. I mean, can you blame me? Barely anybody in this game Mega Evolves. Anyways, obviously Aang has to make a sacrifice here for the win, so we get absolutely obliterated by this Mega Gardevoir's Moonblast, and man, that hurts a lot. I'll always love you, buddy. Alright, now that we can get Katara in here for free, she can get a Shadow Ball off, which does about 40%, and we actually do get a special defense drop on her, but guess what? Her Moonblast actually happens to get a special attack drop on Katara, so they just cancel each other out. Oh well. I really thought Katara was going to avenge Aang here, which would have been so poetic. It's okay, we plan to sack her anyways here, so one more Shadow Ball. Wait, what? A critical hit for the W? Man, Katara ain't taking no disrespect to her man like that. She avenged him real quick. The plan at the end was to sack Katara and then go into Gyatso, who would finish the fight, but that was so much better. Well, there you have it, guys. We beat a Pokemon in Y Hardcore Nuzlocke using electric type Pokemon only. Now that was actually a really nice champion battle. If you guys did enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up for the algorithm gods, and consider subscribing if you want to see more from me. Hey, hold on, we're not about to give credit to these guys, are we? Shauna was literally running away half the time. What, you want a battle? It's funny because I led Gyatso for the champion fight, so Gyatso just wipes his team to the ground. Look at this shit. Anyways, catch you guys in the next one. Bye guys.